Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ikbal, so I'm gonna explain about test in IELTS. What is IELTS? IELTS is the most popular international English language test system for study. Work and immigration valid IELTS results are recognized by more than 11,000 organizations, including educational institutions, employers, professional associations, and government in 145 countries around the world. And also I already uh, list four test type in IELTS. The first one reading, second one listening, and the third one writing, and the last one speaking. And the first one I'm gonna explain reading. In the IELTS reading test, a total of 40 questions must be answered where each correct answer will give a point. So the total point in reading test are 40 points. And the point will convert it to 9-band IELTS scale. The higher band you get, the better English skill you get. There are 8 or 9 types of reading question in the IELTS exam. Before the exam, make sure you have familiar yourself with each type of question. Read the question carefully and pay attention to words that can affect interpretation, such as always, often, and others. Also pay attention to the instruction given, such as not being able to answer more than 3 words. This so that you avoid mistakes that result in your points decreasing. Maybe it's very complicated because if you really want to pass exam in IELTS, especially for reading, you must lot read some newspaper in English, or you can read the books. Maybe you can, like do something else, involved with reading activities. And the next one, we're gonna explain the listening in IELTS. The IELTS listening test consists of 40 questions. The listening test how well participants understand conversation in English, from simple statement conversation to more complex content. The listening section of IELTS asks participants to listen to CD recording with content, voice recording from native speaker, and asks participants to answer questions according to recordingly they hear. The listening section is about 30 minutes long and is held on the same day as the reading and writing test. Participants will also be given an additional 10 minutes to write the answer on the answer sheet. Maybe this is a new thing for me if I read this, because when I study at my campus of Utama, when we have a listening class, but they doesn't give like 30 minutes. Maybe we get like 1 hour is very long minutes. 1 hour is very long, but in IELTS is very difficult and very complicated because they just give 30 minutes. So I think if you really want to pass this exam, maybe we can uh, often listen like music or people speaking on YouTube, like podcast, something like that. Okay, and I listening test scoring system. There are 40 questions for the listening section. Each question is worth 1 point. Score will be converted into 9-band IELTS. And the third one is I'm gonna explain writing. In the IELTS writing test, also known as the writing test, you will write the two essay to answer two different assignment. This essay assignment is also called IELTS writing test and task 1 and task 2. In the first essay assignment or text 1, you have to write 150 words, whereas in the second essay called text 2, you have to write longer 250 words. All in all, you have to complete the writing test within 60 minutes. If we talking about writing in IELTS, maybe the how to explain, because maybe if you pass the exam also in writing, maybe also we can read a lot of book in English, and we type what we're gonna discuss, but not speaking. But when we think about something like knowledge or about your life, and you write what you in your head, and you write in your paper, maybe it can make your writing skill is improved. And also this actually 250 words is very long maybe, but they just give 60 minutes, because also in campus, the lecture gave us like 1 hour is it's not. I mean, it's not enough for me. It's very worth it because even our rating is very, the grammar is very not correct at all. But in IELTS we can maybe, it's very complicated. I mean, and let's and let's another one, speaking. Test your speaking skill in English when you take the IELTS test. The speaking test component, the speaking test will take place in the form of face-to-face interactive discussion with certificate examiner. It's aimed to find out how well your ability to communicate in spoken English in real life situation. And the test in speaking. The speaking test is conducted in 11 or 30-minute duration and is divided into 3 parts. Part you will answer a question about yourself or your family or your work and your hobbies, and part you will talk about the topic. This topic is listed on a card which is also known as IELTS card or candidate task card and is chosen by your examiner. After a full minute of preparation, you'll be asked to speak for about 1-2 minutes until your examiner say it is enough and you can stop. Next, you will be given a few response question and that you need to answer. Uh, Actually, if we test in speaking, we must do a lot of practice. And also in my experience, I have joined in like a lot community, uh, how to speak also for the main things, and we discuss like we discuss a random topic, so it's very worth it and very effective if you join like another community who in that community learn English for speaking personally. Maybe when you speaking in the test in IELTS, it's talking about yourself like family, your work and your hobbies, or something like your childhood or your friends, something like that. And maybe when you test in IELTS, if you have get a lot of experience, maybe it's very worth it. Maybe you can maybe you have a chance to pass that exam. And part 3, you will discuss the topic from the previous part 2 with your examiner in more detail. Here you may be asked for the question to explore the topic. For the both of the IELTS Academy and IELTS General Training test module, you will take the speaking test in the same format, face-to-face with one of our certified IELTS examiner. Yeah, like I told before, like face-to-face, maybe community, like we make a group and maybe that group will have 4 people or 5 people, and then one by one they will talk about themselves, or yeah, like I already told, like uh, about yourself, your family, or your work and hobbies. And I think it's very effective, and maybe in IELTS maybe it's very different, huh? Maybe different, like it's not like when you speaking to another person, but in the eye it's very it's very, I think it's very difficult in speaking also, not in only speaking, like writing, reading and listening is very complicated, it's very hard. But if you study, really study hard, maybe you get paid. But if you maybe you get paid after you learn another a lot of English things. Maybe just this for me. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.